What astounds me most in these days is that everybody wants to talk about Dr. King's life without ever confronting the way it ended. The sexiest part of you is your spine. Why are we so afraid to use it?
Good morning. What a wonderful day in Los Angeles. I am so excited about being here today. On behalf of the 2nd Supervisorial District and the Empowerment Congress, I would like to welcome all of you to the 2011 Empowerment Congress Summit.
Serving as the co-chair of the summit has been an exciting endeavor, and we're excited that all of you are here today. Our theme for today's summit is We Are the 2nd District, Empowered to Realize the Dream. As we celebrate the 82nd anniversary of the birth of Dr. Martin Luther King, we celebrate his vision and his commitment to nonviolence, as well as his leadership in the mobilization for social and economic justice. Dr. King said, "Change does not roll in on the wheels of inevitability, but comes through continuous struggle." So today, we meet as a community to make sure that positive change continues in our 2nd District. The Empowerment Congress was founded over 19 years ago on this very principle that elected officials must be accountable to their constituents and allow them to be actively involved in the decision-making process. Today's summit is one tangible way that the Empowerment Congress empowers our community members with tools to realize Dr. King's dreams. Other ways include organizing teach-ins, interfaith dialogues, forums, and policy education workshops. We hope today that our summit will offer you an opportunity to learn more about the Empowerment Congress, our civic engagement mission and activities, as well as how we complement our wonderful supervisor, Mark Ridley-Thomas, his work and mission.
Beyond our policy focus, today is all about good old-fashioned neighbor-to-neighbor networking. The Empowerment Congress strives to be a collaborative, unifying force which organizing happens. It is a vehicle which new neighbors meet and interact with each other as they engage the policymakers and institutes that impacts their lives.
I am pleased to bring to the stage the Chief Executive Officer of the Office of the County of Los Angeles, Mr. Bill Fujioka.
Good morning. It's a packed house, but I've been to almost all these Empowerment Congresses, and it's just amazing how many people come here. But it speaks to the leadership of our supervisor, Mark Ridley-Thomas. 36 years. My last and the most important project I've ever done is to work on the reopening of King Hospital. We are working, we're on time, we're on budget for the rehab for the facility, we're working in concert with the new board for the hospital. We will make it happen, I promise you. God bless all of you.
One of the hallmarks of the Empowerment Congress is that the annual summit is convened at various locations from year to year so that no one community or venue can lay exclusive claim to its work. This year, we are fortunate to be hosted by the University of Southern California. Please join me in welcoming the new president of the University of Southern California, Dr. C.L. Max Nikias. Dr. Nikias.
Thank you, Francie. Thank you. Good morning. Today we have gathered from neighborhoods throughout the county of Los Angeles to talk about how we can empower people. And this university is the ideal place to hold that conversation. Empowerment is what comes from a few good intentions and a lot of hard work. Don't underestimate what a summit like this can do. Don't underestimate what you can do. We still have a debt to be paid. We still have a dream to fulfill. So now, it is with a great pleasure and a distinct honor that I'm introducing to you the founder of the Empowerment Congress, the 2nd District's representative on the LA Board of Supervisors, and our good friend, my good friend, a USC alum, Mark Ridley-Thomas.
Thank you. Thank you very kindly. Repeat after me. We are empowered. We are empowered. We are the 2nd District. Empowered to realize the dream. Empowered to realize the dream. Look at your neighbor and give him a high five and say, I'm glad you're here because we're empowered to realize the dream. We ought to be proud and grateful that this experiment, this organism we call the Empowerment Congress, has evolved early on. Dr. Jane Pisano was a host to us when we were starting out, so we were at the Davidson Center, 500, 600 strong. And then we moved after our 15th anniversary up to the Galen Center and had a big gala there. Some of you remember that. But now here we are today at Bovard Auditorium, some 1,500 strong, and the Empowerment Congress keeps moving on. Well, I'm delighted that we have special guests. The MC, Faresi Hogan Rawls, said to me that she wanted me to do a Harambe every day. And if I did, I would say that the Empowerment Congress is in the house, and the house is packed. And Harambe said we have senators in the house, we have assemblymen in the house, we have controllers in the house, we have mayors in the house, we have assessors in the house, we have council members in the house, and you know what? The house is packed. I'm going to call them and I'm going to ask if they would just stand and remain standing until I complete the list of those that I'm about to introduce. Representing the California State Senate, Curran Price, the Honorable Curran Price, please stand. Representing the Assembly, the Honorable Steve Bradford, please stand. City Controller Wendy Grules, please stand. Assemblywoman Holly Mitchell, please stand. Mayor Pro Tem of Carson Alito Santillana, please stand. Council member from the City of Carson, Mike Gibson, please stand. City of Inglewood City Attorney Kyle Sanders, if you please stand. The Honorable Laura Richardson, representing the House of Representatives, please stand. California State Senator Rod Wright, if you would please stand. Lawndale City Councilman Robert Pullen Miles, if you would please stand. And my colleague, the one and only, the Honorable Herb Wesson, please stand. Give them all a big round of applause. They are in the house, and the house is packed. Ladies and gentlemen, someone who's working with me very closely as a part of the work that we're doing as the policy advisors and the like, working on a range of important issues. Please give a warm welcome to one who's made a big difference already. She is Connie Rice. She's here. Please stand, give her a salute. Connie Rice is in the house. We celebrate the 19th anniversary of the Empowerment Congress. But the best ideas that I've had on empowerment and the like happens to be attributable to a group of dedicated staff and advisors. I want you to give the staff of the 2nd Supervisorial District a big round of applause. They work hard, they put up with me, so you know they deserve love. Wherever they are, give them some love. Now you see how seamless that was? You can't find them. Why? Because they're working. How about that? And so we are grateful. But the profundity of my gratefulness is attributable to a relationship of consequence for now 30, near 32 years. She is the rock. You know her, and she is Avis Ridley-Thomas. Give her a big round of applause. My rock, my sword, my shield. I wouldn't advise anybody to mess with me. Got to deal with Avis. And she's an expert in dispute resolution, too. She's a mediator. And you still better not mess with me. Mediation goes into suspended animation at the point of, you understand. We love Dr. King, and we adhere to the philosophy of nonviolence. But there is a situation ethics mentality that kicks in certain contexts that, well, I'll just keep moving on here. Let me turn your attention to one of the important messages of Dr. King, and we're going to see if we can reflect on the significance of what this means. Think about that. Martin Luther King speaking to us this morning. And then I want you to take another look at what Dr. King is saying to us this morning. Reflect on that for a moment, will you? The Empowerment Congress's motto is to educate, engage, and empower. And our objective today is simply to cause you to put yourself in a state of mind where to say to yourself, here is an opportunity to celebrate like never before your own power, your own ability to get yourself to do what is necessary. And so I want to just work through a couple of things here today to invite you to consider what this Empowerment Congress has done in collaboration with me, and I want to assert from the very beginning, I am a better public servant because of the involvement and the contribution, the critique, the urging, the embrace of the Empowerment Congress of the 2nd Supervisorial District. They make a big difference. May I call your attention to the fact that you can find out of our milestones by going to our website, but we focused on a number of things. The initiatives include targeting jobs. Somebody say jobs. Jobs. More jobs. That's what we are trying to do. We are single-focused in that regard. We are focused on opening a new hospital named after Martin Luther King Jr., and something significant is going to happen. We are focused on reducing the number of child deaths in the county of Los Angeles. We are focused on engaging in public safety through prevention. and we are deepening our work to protect children, strengthening families, and rebuilding our communities. And a comprehensive view of that can be found on our website. It would seem to me that one of the early points of understanding has to be connected with what we talk about in terms of Dr. King's notion of humanity, or the lack thereof, justice, or the lack thereof, equality, or the lack thereof. In his mind, of all the forms of inequality, injustice in healthcare is the most shocking and inhumane. And this is why we have made it our top priority to focus on the rebuilding of a new hospital that will essentially reflect the highest standards that we can articulate in our community. This is the first rendering presentation of what a new Martin Luther King Hospital will look like. We are on the case. We are committed. We are going to deliver. With new doctors and new facilities, and we're going to redefine what healthcare is in Service Planning Area 6. We're going to collaborate with the new Director of Health Services, Dr. Mitchell Katz, and we're going to make a big difference in the clinics, in the inpatient tower, and in the outpatient facility as well. This is important. The design is going to reflect the highest quality in architecture, and you know what else? It will essentially make for the opportunity for jobs during the construction phase, because that's what we want. We're going to focus on that. It is an opportunity for us to do what needs to be done to make a difference in terms of the health and well-being of the communities for which we are concerned. And so when you talk about jobs, we're talking about local hiring. We're talking about jobs for local communities. We're talking about a project labor agreement that makes it real for our community. And so already, the first building in this complex, the medical center, is called the South Health Center. It will be operated by the Department of Public Health. It will focus on immunizations, HIV testing. It will include a community kitchen, which will be used to promote healthy food preparation practices, and it will focus on preventive health campaigns. That's what's coming to that community. You should know we will not stop there. We're going to go all the way over to Harbor UCLA Surgery Emergency Replacement Project, where we're spending approximately $350 million because we know it's not enough to have a new Martin Luther King. We've got to make Harbor UCLA, which is in the 2nd District, better, and we will do that. And there's a clear need for that. Let me just say why. Right across the street at the sports arena, we had what we called remote area medical. 8,000 people showed up over a 7-day period to get screenings. You saw it on the news. You see here Dr. Patrick Soon-Shion, who stepped up to help move the Martin Luther King project forward with his $100 million guarantee for UC to make it happen. But right here in this facility, we were in the business of giving people what they needed, health care screenings. And so don't let anybody tell you that there's not a need for health reform. These are those who didn't have insurance. And I want to make it plain. Everybody, take out your cell phone right now. I know they told you to turn them off. Take out your cell phone for just a minute. You know, that iPhone you have, yeah. This is urgent. Empowerment means you got to be urgent. Somebody say urgent. You ought to take action to protect your family's health care. Now just load this number, 1-866-308-6259. Just put it in there. Text it to yourself. do what you need to do. Now, after you get that, this is the message. Don't go backwards and take away my health benefits. Do you hear me? Repeat after me. Don't go backwards and take away my health benefits. Don't take away our children's chance to gain better and more affordable health care. And don't waste time. Results matter. Create jobs. That's the message you ought to send to them when you call that number. Do you hear me? This is what empowerment is about. They have people on the move right now to turn back the clock on health reform. Took us a century to get it, and they think we're going to give it up in the matter of one vote. Let me tell you, we ain't going to give it up, and we ain't never going back to those days when Americans didn't have what they deserve in terms of health care. We stand in the tradition of Martin Luther King. We move on to remote area medical, and we salute the volunteers who help. Look at these firefighters and the first responders who help us every day. We need to be reminded of the fact that they are doing all of what they do to make our communities better. Dr. King said, all labor that uplifts humanity has dignity and importance and should be undertaken with painstaking excellence. But that isn't the end of it. We have to move on to infrastructure issues. We spend time working on making sure people can get to the health facilities in a city or town that's the congestion traffic capital of the whole world. If you try to get on that 405 freeway going somewhere, you need to handle your business before you get in your car, because it's not, you understand what I'm saying, don't you? Some of us have to be more attentive to these things now. When I first started the Empowerment Congress, that wasn't the case, but now, with a receding hairline that's moving at centrifugal force, I have to do all kinds of things to pay attention to what I'm up to. So the point that I'm making to you is this issue of the MTA, the Metropolitan Transportation Authority. Crenshaw to LAX is going to happen. It's $1.7 billion, and it means more jobs in our community, and the Empowerment Congress is in the mix. We're glad that Senator Barbara Boxer came with good news to tell us that we're going to get a $500 million loan to jumpstart the project. And that means real money to put this project ahead on the map. And transportation is important. It means economic development. It means environmental standards being improved. It finally means that people can move through the region in an affordable way. Dr. King is clear, I will not rest until the power structure downtown will have to say we can't stop this movement, and the only way to deal with it is to give these people what we owe them. And so when we go down there as the Empowerment Congress, we show up for local hiring, and we show up, things do happen. Like the unanimous vote for local workers to get jobs in this community on MLK, on Expo, and ultimately on Crenshaw to LAX. That's what happens when we show up. When we show up, we get new facilities. We get new facilities like the Florence Firestone Constituent Services Center. There will be one in Exposition Park. There will be one in Lenox. There will be one in Culver City, and these are essentially many city halls that focus on services In one instance, senior services, Cynthia Banks is here, and we do that in Florence Firestone. In Expo Park, it will be environmental focus there, a new environmental services center. In Lenox, there'll be a new library that will be state-of-the-art. In Culver City, we will be doing a cultural awareness and arts focus along with our co-located Constituent Services Center. And Avis told me to be sure to remind you that there will be Wi-Fi hotspots. So that's the deal that we got to deal with. And so I just want to say that environmental concerns are important to me. Somebody said when you show up in the 2nd District, put your boots on. And so here we are with the EPA Administrator, Lisa Jackson, who came to the 2nd District, to Compton in particular, where we discussed our efforts at ecosystem restoration and flood control preparation. This is important in terms of the quality of life. Environmental issues, they are important to the Empowerment Congress. The Baldwin Hills oil field is important. Let me just make it clear. If we are empowered, we don't have one tool in our tool chest. We work on more than one front. And on this issue with PXP, I want to make it real clear for all who would but believe. We will not turn back until the residents of the 2nd Supervisorial District get what they deserve, which is high-quality environmental protection in that environment. And we're not going to work on one track. We're going to work on multiple tracks to get it done. Empowerment Congress activists are not one-dimensional. Repeat after me. We are not one-dimensional. We engage in advancing legislation, introducing motions for public discourse, and at the same time we engage in settlement conversations in order to inform the process so that we can get more rather than less. Repeat after me. More rather than less. Or you ought to say that like you mean it. More rather than less. That's what I'm talking about, and tell those who would believe otherwise that they should have been here to hear it directly from me. Well, you know, small business is important, but people need to be trained in the area of small business. So what do? Right there in the community of Watts, this is a new truck training facility, people buying their trucks, learning how to haul goods, engaging in commerce. This is adjacent to the Jordan Downs development project. And I can tell you every 12 weeks, you'll have 6, 7 new trained truck drivers starting their own small businesses. They will own those businesses and hire employees, and that's what we are doing. These are stimulus dollars at work. Well, just the other day, there was a fellow who came to the campus of the University of Southern California. The president, Max Nakia, said, "Mark, I just talked with the president." I said, "Max, you are the president." He said, "No, I'm talking about President Obama. He's here." And this is a depiction of the excitement that he created on this campus. Some 35,000 people packed the campus to do what needed to be done in terms of civic engagement and the like. Dr. King is clear. Voting is the foundation stone for political action. And we have to engage in electoral politics in a way that makes sense. And we vote, things do happen. When we get busy, we can make a difference. I want to tell you, when we vote, things do happen. Right here in the county. When we vote, things happen. When we vote, we can make a difference. And we owe it. We owe it to Dr. King. We owe it to Dolores Huerta. We owe it to people like Marion Wright Edelman, who come for us, and it was here last year saying that freedom schools matter. When we vote, this is what civic engagement is about. And when we show up, the 2nd District, empowered for action, ready to realize the dream, I can tell you, we do matter. We make a difference, and that's why you are here today, and we thank you for your presence and your participation. It is now mine to introduce a very special guest. She is United States Representative Karen Bass. Karen began her political organizing at an early age, campaigning for Robert Kennedy in 1968 as a student at Hamilton High School. She went on to found an organization that we all know and love, known as the Community Coalition. All right, Coco in the house. We got you. And the house is packed. You know that she served as the Speaker of the California State Assembly. She's a history maker, as she was the first African-American woman in the nation to hold this powerful state legislative role. And I was in the nation's capital last week when she was sworn in, and I was proud to witness that, as she is now the congressional representative for the 33rd District for the state of California. We are very fortunate to have her with us today. My friend, my sister in struggle and in legislative work, please welcome the Honorable Karen Bass.
Thank you, everyone. Good morning. How is everyone doing today? I was talking to the supervisor last night, and I just can't believe this is the 19th Empowerment Congress. Look around you. What event can you think of in our community that is like this on an annual basis? We come together, every part of the community. I know SEIU is in the house. I already heard the Community Coalition is in the house. The Empowerment Congress was the model that was used by our city in the creation of the neighborhood councils, and it's a model for our nation, and I think we need to take one more moment to give another round of applause to Supervisor Mark Ridley-Thomas for his leadership in our community over all of these decades. He's only been our supervisor for a few minutes, but that slideshow showed all of the work that has been done in his time as supervisor and the work that everyone in this room has done as participating in the Empowerment Congress. And it, to me, is a source of tremendous pride for all of us in our community. It is truly my pleasure to introduce my friend and colleague, Attorney General Kamala Harris. Get to your feet to welcome the next Attorney General in our state, Kamala Harris.
Good morning. Please sit down. We have so much work to do. Come on. Thank you very, very much. I am so honored to be here, to be a part of this movement that my friend Mark Ridley-Thomas started when his little boys were only 4 years old, 19 years ago, of doing the work that is so extraordinary of empowering communities. You know, there are a lot of folks who are leaders, a lot of folks who have been elected to office who understand the power that we have as elected people to convene. It's an incredible power we have. But Mark Ridley-Thomas is one of those very special and unique leaders who understands that the convening alone is not enough. It is about sustaining. It is about sticking with it and creating a continuity and a consistency so that truly the community that is the target of the work will in fact be empowered. That's the kind of leader we have in Mark Ridley-Thomas, and I think I would like to just ask us all to please applaud his leadership and work. Because when I think about the work that I intend to do as your Attorney General, it is the work of mobilizing and bringing together you, the leaders in this auditorium, to focus on the challenges we face as a state. And you, as the leaders of this Congress in particular, are a model of what other communities can aspire to do and achieve in terms of empowering our communities around the topics that we will be discussing today that deal with our youth, that deal with a focus on re-entering former offenders in a way that we reduce the likelihood that they will re-offend, in the work that we will do to recognize that we must always be committed to that thing Dr. King did so well, which is coalition building, seeing that there may seemingly be differences among us, but there are no differences between us when we think about what we all want in terms of the community in which we want to raise our children, what we all want in terms of knowing that our elders will be safe and free from predatory practices, and what we all want in terms of believing that if a youth enters the juvenile justice system, we will figure out a way to cycle them out before they become the career offender. So I thank you all for doing the very hard work of showing what is possible over these 19 years of coming together, and I am humbled to be with you. Cynics will say that you cannot have a sustainable environment and a healthy economy. They will say you cannot have safe communities and robust civil rights. But it is up to us in this room to say we know better. We know that those false choices distract us from the task at hand. So we need to let go of old approaches, forge unlikely partnerships, and make change possible. And working together, we can change the laws we need to change to balance the budget while we save our schools. We can build a green economy that saves both jobs and the environment. We can train and employ ex-offenders to both improve public safety and reduce prison costs. And it is my pledge to you today that the Attorney General's office can and will remain a strong advocate in the enforcement of our environmental and consumer protection laws. We will aggressively pursue any companies and individuals scamming innocent homeowners with mortgage fraud and false rescue services that rob Californians of their assets and their dignity. And we will take on gangs that threaten whole communities that suffer both as witness and victim to their crimes. We all know that these times are turbulent. We know also that there are great challenges. But we also know that in a time of crisis or challenge, there is also incredible opportunity. And with a public now awakened to the possibility and optimistic, I believe, about the power to bring change, I know we can get this thing done. It is our privilege and our duty to be the agents of that change. And as our President of the United States said, we must uphold our sacred covenant with our children to live up to their expectations of us, while fulfilling the dream
of those who came before us. So let's be clear. None of this will be achieved without struggle. This is a fight that we will only win step by step. And the fact that we will never be finished in the battle for justice is not an excuse to be any less vigilant or to work every day to move closer to the realization of the dream. Coretta Scott King once said, "Struggle is a never-ending process. Freedom is never really won. You earn it and win it in each generation. And Congress, that generation is us. So let us go forward in this struggle, fearless, tireless, and resolved to work not only today, but every single day until the promise of justice and opportunity is secured for our children and our children's children. We owe it to those who have paved the way for us to carry this effort on, and we owe it to those who will come after us and to ensure their futures. To work together until Dr. King's dream is earned and won again. I thank you.
Do we have the most powerful Attorney General in the country? Attorney General Kamala Harris. What a powerful morning. Oh my goodness. We could not be in a better place in the city of Los Angeles or in the county of Los Angeles than right here on the campus of USC with the Empowerment Congress. And thank you so very much for attending the 19th Annual Empowerment Congress Summit. We hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, the breakout sessions, and we look forward to seeing you next year for the 20th anniversary of the Empowerment Congress.